once again to today's Polity, this beautiful Thursday afternoon. And I'd like to say you're welcome. It's very exciting to have you at the other end, because surely I know that you're there and you're the one that makes this beautiful exercise possible, because we can't be talking to ourselves. I once joked that if a teacher, no matter how very knowledgeable, would go to the class without students and begin to teach, then something is wrong. So we're complete because you're there and we're here. You're welcome to the show. The show is called The Polity, and it's coming to you live from the Abuja station of KAFTANTV. By the way, KAFTAN stands for King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network TV. King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network TV. And today, as usual, we take up a topical matter, and today we will be talking about the pronouncement recently by the Supreme Court that the Freedom of Information Act has national jurisdiction, covers the entire federation. It's not just for the center, it's for the states as well. And to talk about this, I have someone who is deeply involved with the Freedom of Information Act thing and ensuring its enforcement and all that. And his name is very interesting. His name is President Aigbokhan, and he's there.
Thank you for having me.
He's a human rights lawyer and a legal reform advocate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I also have with me in the house Olumuyiwa, Onlede, and he is an online media practitioner. He is involved in a whole lot of all the things that are associated together, and he's an in-house regular. May I welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, quickly, we go to the topic at hand. For those who know, at some point I was involved in a project where we were involved in taking requests to certain agencies of government to ask for information. So this really, how do you say it now? Resonates with me. Mm-hmm. And so I know how much how so very difficult it was to get responses. You go there. There are all kinds of provisions that within the first 7 days, if you don't, or something like that, if you don't get a response, you go back and all that and all that. But most agencies, they're not bothered at all. It's like when you're tired, you stop coming. And in several places, we were many who were sent out like that. It was it was something to do with media rights agenda. Okay. Yeah, they have also been very much involved in the FOI thing. So today we go back to the the pronouncement by the Supreme Court recently, stating clearly that the FOI Act covers the entire nation, because some states were trying to be smart, if you like, and wanted to say, look, it has only jurisdiction over the federal government. But that has been set aside now. And that came out of the case between a number of NGOs and the Edo State Agency for the prevention control of AIDS, of HIV/AIDS. And the final point is that, look, you cannot escape. Every state is covered by the FOI Act. Now, let's get some background. Let's get the genesis of this, because you have been very much involved in this particular case. What really happened?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
In 2014, some group of individuals and NGO were listed for intervention grants by World AIDS Support Group, AIDS Control Support Groups. So the NGOs, individual NGOs that are to benefit, were listed. So other NGOs who were shortchanged felt they needed to know the criteria for the selection of those who benefited. So they made a request. I did that request, and the Edo Sakas and agency ignored us and went ahead and disbursed the money to those NGOs that they have shortlisted. So we went to court, not because we're not given the grant, but because they refused to tell us the criteria of the selection process. So the High Court in Benin, 2014, agreed with us and granted all our reliefs, save for the release for costs and damages. And the Edo Sakas and agency appealed the decision to the Court of Appeal, and they raised an issue as to the applicability of the law to state agency, which the Court of Appeal agreed with them partly. The Court of Appeal agreed with them in a not in a concurrent decision. It was 2-1.
Okay.
So we had one that said they are wrong. We
are
had
wrong.
two that said they are right. So the court ruled, and we proceeded to the Supreme Court to say this decision was not correct. Supreme Court should look at it. We came to Supreme Court in 2018. Supreme Court, in their benevolence, agreed with us in 2025 and instructed that the state agencies are binding. The law binds them. We cannot begin to have the red chambers and the green chambers. And someone somewhere is saying that, oh, the law doesn't bind me. So it make caricature of the whole exercise. So that's just the nitty-gritty of the facts.
Oh, beautiful. So it was not really that, we didn't get, so we will go all out to fight. It was to say, so what was the basis? What was the criteria for
The selection
granting,
process.
for
Yes.
selecting,
Yes.
for granting to some and not granting to
Yes,
some?
yes.
And your body happened to be one of those that was not granted.
No. We are just a law intervention group.
Okay.
We just assisted them to enforce their rights. We never applied, and we're not one of those that can be empowered to implement that project.
Yes. All right. Okay. Now, so let me come to you. Now, you are a media person, and you probably have encountered some of the challenges in trying to get information. What does this judgment, what does it do for you?
No, this judgment, I must commend the trial court, the justice of the trial court, the honorable justices of the appeal court, including those that did not give us judgment, and honorable justices of the Supreme Court. I must commend them for looking at this thing critically. This has further stamped our belief that judiciary is the hope of a common man. If anybody is saying otherwise, I think we don't belong to that category of those that do not believe in the judiciary. We so much believe in the judiciary, and at every point in time, we are there for interpretation of the law when we think our right is being trampled upon. Up to today, we are in court, one court or the other. This judgment has further empowered Nigerians. It is not, the judgment is not for us alone. It is not for the applicants alone. It is not for the lawyer alone and his team. It is for the generality of Nigerians to know their right, to know that those that we have elected and those that were appointed to lead us, whether at state level, federal level, and even local government level, they are answerable to us as a people.
Yeah.
This judgment has further stated clearly that you cannot lead us in isolation. We must be part of the and parcel of the processes, and we have the right to ask questions. It has told us, because formally people believe when laws are made, it is made for federal government, ministries, agencies, and parastatals alone. No. I can give you an example of the EFCC Act that was challenged by state governors. And no, they had no input. Meanwhile, the National Assembly is empowered to make laws for every Nigerian. And when National Assembly make laws, no state assembly, according to Nigeria Constitution, can make any law that contradicts that is made by the National Assembly. So we are very happy, and we urge Nigerians to look at it. Look at it. They can contact us or contact Supreme Court for the judgment. They look at it to know whether you are in the media or in the civil society. this victory is for everybody.
So it's trite. It's no use asking whether you are satisfied with the judgment. This is exactly what you look forward to.
Exactly. Well,
this is the
destination. Just career fulfilling. Yes. Right. When I started my work in 2012 as FY counsel.
Yes.
So when this matter came up, I saw it as a case that will validate the brand. So I was all in for it. And
validated it.
Yes, it has validated it. So we are not, when you tell lawyers specialize in an area, I will look at it like there's not much money in it. Why don't us do a lot, do that, do this, do
everything.
That. Yes, but now by the grace of God, when you say FY counsel, it's national. People know that we have validated our call, and we have given justice to clients, and we have interpreted vital sections of the law. It's not just for the Edusaka case. We have over 41 cases that we have done nationwide, and including the case against the NDDC, where the record that they sent to us after 3 years could contain like 3 cartons. So we have been in it. We have paid our dues. We have suffered, but we believe that the law is evolving. And interestingly, just 2 days ago, the Federal High Court have set up a freedom of information desk, and they address the media. If you need any information from the court, come and meet us. So we are very impressed.
If you need any information
from the court,
okay,
yes, and there's an office that they have designated now. So this decision is sprouting a lot of innovations.
Right.
Everybody's putting his house in order.
In order.
Just last week again, we got a judgment from Federal High Court wherein the court emphasized that where a request letter is sent to an agency and you received it, you didn't reply, you want to hire the best of lawyers, they raise an exemption clause in the court. The court cannot interpret it. You ought to have written that exemption to the requester before you cannot test it in court. So that decision was a case we did recently, and that obviously is why MDAs is relocated access to public record to legal from publication and research. That was also done 2 weeks ago. So the whole lot is going on. And we believe that for once the system is getting very responsive. And I may bold to say that I suspect, I don't know, I've not spoken to the Attorney General of the Federation. I suspect that he's very serious with this, and this may be one of his biggest because he's the focal person for the implementation of the law. So I suspect somebody is driving this thing from the inside also, because we have done this for years. We didn't hit anywhere.
Right.
So that I suspect, I don't know whether it's wrong, but I suspect that he's trying to also leave a legacy. But
and if I may come in, when the Honorable Attorney General was appointed, after the screening and everything, when he resumed, we wrote a congratulatory letter to him through our civil society. And we not told him, we reminded him of how previous Attorney Generals failed to follow the law that is called FO High, where MDAs are supposed to submit their report every February, if I'm right, to the Attorney General. But I don't think that has been done. We wrote to him and we told him this is what is supposed to be done, but unfortunately, no Attorney General has deemed it fit to do it. And as important as this law is, as important as this is to the people of this country, as important as the law is to even the agencies, ministries and parastatals, so that there will be trust in them. Because if they are serious about being transparent, Nigerians will not trust them.
Yeah.
Nigeria will not believe these people are accountable. When they write to you today, the next day you reply, the Nigerians will love you and say you are accountable.
You know.
Then I think based on that, I think based on that letter, he replied, and we were invited for a meeting in Federal Ministry of Justice, and we met with a director, and they appreciated our effort, and I think the Attorney General is driving it from that perspective. I'm not too sure, but from that, I think that was a major foundation for him to know what is really happening according to the law.
To the law. You know, talking about what you said about response to requests, I find it very, I don't know how we do business in this country in such a way that you send a letter, nobody responds to you.
Yes.
It looks as if you've just gone to throw your letter, whether it has to do with a request for information, whether it's an application for a job, whatever it is, you have to keep following up, they don't have any responsibility towards you. And I know that during the days of the Obasanjo regime, when you had Savicom, these were some of the things that Savicom was supposed to address. And as we speak, it's still not changed. Now, what are your hopes that this new one will actually be enforced, be sustained? Because you see, we have a whole lot of judgments in Nigeria that after 1-2 months, after 1 year, you find out that it looks as if it's been passed. I mean, it's been bypassed. It looks as if that's history. What do you think? Do you think that could also fall into this category? Because you just talked about now you cannot do any exemption without first of all formalizing it.
Yes, the FYA is not evolving really. Yeah, it has always been, the standard has always been there. It has already reviewed since 2011. When you make a request, it's not just an experience that you share alone. We make requests on behalf of some persons, and nobody responds to you. And but recently, you know, there are people who tell you, I want to fight you, and your make man leave you. If we write to you that we need record, the moment you are writing to you, we are opening your file. That's the basic. We are opening the file for you.
That these people may or may not.
We believe that you are not going to respond.
Right.
So if you respond to us, you are really giving us a shocker. We have cause to close file. We now strike it out and now turn it upside down for rough files. So we must take you to court. We don't make frivolous letters. I was holding up a case by one NGO with INEC, and the day we got the ex parte order against INEC, the next day INEC released the records. So we drew the case. You understand? The next day at about 4, they had the parcel with them in the office, and they snapped it and sent to me that INEC have given them the record that they have asked for. Everything. So we must continue to knock on the door, continue to use the law responsibly, because you can also see some request letters that are so
frivolous,
so you must be sure of what exactly you are doing, what exact request you are making, which agency is your target, and what really do you want to do with the record you are seeking. Even though that's not the basis for request, but in a strategic table, you must be able to tell yourself this and this and this is what you want to achieve. So we believe that we're also trying to undergo a research. We are currently doing a research on how public officers that are mentioned, that process those records, can be brought to book.
All right, because I was going to go to that. I mean, does this judgment, this pronouncement, does it also declare what happens where people fail to comply?
Where they fail to comply,
that was already in the FYI Act.
Yeah, it's there, but it's a hybrid provision that seems to be a criminal process. It seems to be a criminal process. So when you file an FYI application, you are deviating to enforcement, core enforcement. You are moving into civil arena, a criminal arena, which can only be perpetrated by government agencies. But we are currently trying to do a research. We are using a comparative study in Illinois, how they are able to do that. And by the time we are through with this research, we'll test it with some public officers who may likely find their seat in jail.
All right. I really like the confidence and the string of successes that you share. Now, let me ask. This is a huge one for the media, a huge victory.
And the civil society.
And civil society. How do you read? Because I have experienced it before, and I know the frustration of getting information on a daily basis. They'll just tell you, well, we are not talking about, with so much careless abandon. But I think that going forward now, a whole lot is going to open up.
Yes, I think Supreme Court has saved the situation. And other courts, they have stamped their authority, and they are giving the media and the civil society and generally Nigerians the power that is there, that was given to them in the act as signed by the president in 2011. You know, the power is there, the law is there, but because these people have a lot of resources, government resources anyway.
Yeah.
They believe when you go to court, we face you with a senior advocate.
Yeah.
But with what is happening now, within the judiciary, I think the judiciary has given power to the people. The judiciary has given hope to the people, especially those in the media and the civil society. But there's one thing.
Yeah.
We must know what we are doing. Those of us in the media and the civil society, we must know what we are doing. This law is not for individuals to status quos. This law is not for individuals or civil society organizations and media organizations to blackmail people. It is strictly to entrench transparency and accountability in governance, if I'm right. And I think it should be so.
Yeah.
And when writing, people should write in such a way that it will show patriotism, that whatever you are requesting for is for the benefit of the people, not for the benefit of a few. That is what I believe, because we see so many frivolous and vague requests being made to agencies, which does not speak well. Because if we are making vague and frivolous requests to agencies, the agencies now have the belief that every other organization is they're all the same.
The same.
They are all chasing cloud. They are all chasing what is not there. So, and there are serious issues, because in a country like ours, where we are talking about foreign investors, if you want foreign investors to come, foreign investors should be able to stay in America and Europe and send a mail or use somebody to send a mail to CAC and say, so I want to come to Nigeria, I want to do business with this company. Please, they have furnished us with this information that this and this are the directors of the company, and these are their shares. We want to know who is behind this company, who are the people. So this kind of requests should be attended to in a jet-like speed that will give the investors the confidence to say, oh, I want to pay my fund to this country.
Yeah.
But when they are ignored, you are giving them the notion that Nigeria is not a serious country, and nobody will come and invest in a country where it thinks its funds, its investments is not safe.
It's at risk. All right. So this judgment has a whole lot of it has effect on several areas of our life. It has something to do with the anti-corruption campaign. It means that a lot of people are going to really sit up, because they know that you can't behave, it's no longer business as usual. Also, it has the capacity to influence positively our doing business, our ease of doing business index, because then, like what you said, people can trust the system now. Because if you want to do business and you're not sure that if a dispute arises, for example, that it will be quickly resolved, or that you can get information for to plan your business, then it makes the business environment very complicated.
Yes.
But this is very good news to the effect that, maybe at the touch of a button you can get information and without unnecessary frustration. I know what it is, and I really congratulate you people for this. But let's talk about this part of the legal administration in this country. You started this case in 2014.
Yes.
2014 to 2025 is 11 years.
Yes.
For me, I think that something really revolutionary needs to happen to ensure that cases are dispensed with much more quicker. Because you could get this kind of judgment. There are cases where the judgment now becomes like a Pyrrhic victory. It's useless. Maybe not in this case, but in some cases, the person who should benefit, or so maybe is dead, or something like that, just because of the unnecessary delay. What can be done to quicken the pace, the the pace of the judiciary in this country?
In delivering judgment.
In delivering judgments.
I think
11 years. No.
It's a whopping years, and honestly, I can tell you that that's one of the fastest cases that outside election petitions. One of the fastest, and the minimum years at the Supreme Court is between before a case can move from High Court to the Supreme Court and judgment delivered. The minimum is like 10 years. Outside election petition cases
that have been deliberately
fast. Pre-election matters.
Yes,
that are time bound.
Yes, but that doesn't in any way cast aspersion on our able and judicial officers who are doing their job and considering their numbers, considering their sacrifice, considering the incentives, considering the regard that even these judicial officers get. You will agree with me that if you visit a House of Assembly member, he has one, he has over 3 security attached to him. His vehicle, his house, his office. But when you visit the judge, you see one policeman that is attached. That is, if it's even attached at all. So you can see how they work. You can see the regard that the system gives to them. So and you expect a whole lot from them. And that day of delivering this judgment, Supreme Court delivered over 11 judgments. And that's a whole lot because 11 judgments of huge files being transcribed and judgment is given on it. It's a whole lot of work. So we thank the new administration for employing more hands to the Supreme Court, and I think that will make cases to be faster. Yes. So generally, the duration is not abysmal. It is something that it is a standard. I get it. So ordinarily, there are cases that shouldn't go there at all. But I think they are working on that now. Local cases should end at the Court of Appeal, even though it's not expressly stated. And cases of national or court statutory interpretation are those ones that are reserved for the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court. Yes. In which case, once they don't go that far, the time will
be shorter. People can enjoy the proceed of their victory. Exactly. But by the time you have to wait till Supreme Court to hear it, it can make a case very frustrating. So the litigant must know that cases are bust up and not bother the Supreme Court with frivolous appeals. That makes case to stay very long. And also amendment too. Somebody can have a case Supreme Court, he files an amendment, they'll give you another date. The lawyer does files another amendment. So there are a whole lot of setback, even from legal practice alone, that makes case to stay so long. It's not as if the Supreme Court justices are sitting in the office and they tell themselves that we don't want to hear cases. Are you getting it now? They are willing to hear the case, so a lot of setback here and there.
A new idea comes quickly from what you have said. Someone had said, a friend was, he had a case and he employed this lawyer to help him. And he said at a certain point that the lawyer was just using him to make money.
For appearance fee.
For appearance fee. That he will go there and on one flimsy excuse say they're not ready to proceed and all that, and then they'll fix another date and they'll fix another date. If that is established, is there anything that can be done to discipline?
Yes, the legal profession has a disciplinary platform, legal practitioner disciplinary committee. So when such a letter is written to them to inform them that, oh, this lawyer is deliberately trying to frustrate your case. What you may not add to heart is that you must add that it's malicious, because you can't just see somebody frustrating your case when he's the one doing the case. So it has to be malicious. That therefore means that if he has in one occasion asked you for money to serve hearing notices and you have declined and there's nothing you can do, you're just battling with the case and all that. So it must be malicious. The malice as an ingredient of your allegation. And I think the Legal Practitioner Disciplinary Committee is all out for lawyers who do not meet with the ethical benchmark needed for the profession.
All right. Let's talk about the media part. What should the media be doing right now with this judgment?
Yes, this is the enlightening Nigerians about this judgment falls on the table of the media. They should not wait for both the litigants and the applicants to approach them first. I think this judgment should have been everywhere by now, and that is where I have problem with media practitioners in Nigeria. Despite the fact that I am one, I still have my reservation, because our presence is not everywhere. Our presence is not where we are supposed to be, and when we are where we are supposed to be, our work is not too detailed to show to Nigerians what we are supposed to show to them, because this information about this judgment should be everywhere by now. That is what I believe, so that people can know what has really happened, because those that started this case with him in 2014, sorry, they must have lost hope, because they are not lawyers. They don't know that, the duration for a case to go from trial court to Supreme Court is 10 years. They will have said, the case is gone, the case is, we cannot get anything out of the case. But now, there's a judgment. They need to hear. So, how will they hear? It's through the media. Most of the authentic news and reports that you get in the social media, they comes from the mainstream media. Mm-hmm. Most of the fake news and fake reports that you get on social media, they are being generated from the social media itself. So they don't come from the mainstream media. Yeah. So the mainstream media has a responsibility. You can't expect social media to generate anything around an information of this magnitude. No, it has to come to the social media through the mainstream media. Most of the things you see on social media are not true. They are generated by those within the social media space. So this is a landslide judgment that affects everybody in Nigeria. Whether you are a foreigner, you are here, you have a benefit to derive from this judgment. And we need the media, we need the mainstream media to push this report out so that social media will pick it up from there.
All right, Barrister President Aigbokhan, what would you be saying to the media, the ordinary man on the street, stakeholders? Isn't this a good time to go test this?
Thank you. Coincidentally, the law has been there since 2011. The media have not shown when the law was being propounded, yes. Because it was frontlined by MRO, so we affect that it's a media law. So that's why it's on contest where people call FOI a media law. But the usage have shown otherwise, and the media are not interested in using it. Primarily because before you write your report, based on the FOI request, it must have been updated. So the speed in disclosure will have automated media usage of the law. So there is a gap. But civil society can be patient and see incorporate the outcome of their inquiry in their report, whether official or unofficial. That's one. Two, one part of that judgment is emphasizing that, FOI applied to states, which therefore means that the law has always been there for federal institutions. Mm-hmm. So the media man cannot say, we have not been able to use the law because we are waiting for that judgment. Because there are federal institutions available. They should have used the law. So we have the opinion that the part of the law, the judgment applies to states, saying that states, it applies to states institutions, which is the challenge we want to cure. That was the curve. Yeah. Doesn't mean that federal institutions have not been, the law doesn't apply to them, ab initio. So the media, third point, the media need to incorporate integrate the social media.
That is the mainstream media.
The mainstream media need to integrate them. We did a case on Press Council Act where the law actually amputated the mainstream media, and we remove those malicious sections from the law to ensure that social media activists can actually practice as a journalist in Nigeria. So as it stands now, you can describe yourself as a journalist by the definition of that decision, which was delivered in the ECOWAS court in 2023. So we have done a whole lot to outside FYI. We're also trying to ensure that we broaden the media law landscape to ensure that everyone is carried along.
Well done. I think we should go on this break, and when we get back, dear viewers, I will open the phone line so you also can be a part of this program after the break.
When we say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world, we're not just bragging, we know our onions in the world of broadcasting. One of our outlets to express ourselves to the world is our flagship program, Matters Arising. Join veteran broadcaster Ruben Okala and our crack team live.
And they give us a high price, and we just say, Nigeria, we ready?
As I said earlier, the lyrics is up, talking about the old new national.
On KAFTAN TV, Startimes channel 480 and 124, as well as NIGCOMSAT frequency 12518, symbol rate 29500. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. live. You can join the conversation by calling this phone number 0802 993 8365. It's dramatic and insightful. Don't miss it. Please join us.
My name is Sheila BCFR, the Black Comedian of the Federal Republic. I tell you, when it comes to the best of entertainment, the best of news, the best of information, something that is educative, you're right here at the best place to see that. It's KAFTAN TV. You know what? Increase the volume. Keep watching. Don't touch the dial, okay?
It's your girl Nkechi Blessing Sunday. I want you all to keep watching KAFTAN TV.
Please keep watching KAFTAN TV. It is the best TV station in the country. They're doing an amazing job. Please do not touch the dial. Keep watching. Thank you.
My name is Sheila BCFR, the Black.
All right, you're welcome back to the Polity, and we've been talking with the FOI Council, the what's the designation now? Senior partner,
Lead counsel.
Lead counsel,
Yes.
in the person of President Aigbokhan, and I also have Olumuyiwa, Onlede, and he's a journalist, and he also does a whole lot of things with youths and all that, and both of them have been taking up this issue about the Supreme Court pronouncement on the FOI Act. Before now, and in this particular case, an agency had sought to dodge responsibility, dodge accountability by saying that states are not under the purview of that law. But as it is today, the Supreme Court has stated apex court. There's no other place to go to. So it's clear the declaration has been made that every state and the federal government are covered by the FOI Act, the Freedom of Information Act. And that's a big, big plus for Nigeria, because it will help the anti-corruption move, and it will also help, if you like, ease of doing business and attract investors and all that. And there's a whole lot that's attached to that, and which is quite commendable. We do hope that every part, like they talked about the Attorney General, we do hope that whatever it is that they need to do, what should the Attorney General be doing right now?
I think the Attorney General, when they have the Attorney General conference, they should be able to instruct the Attorney General of states to ensure that the decision is complied with, to also ensure that they train MDAs under them for ease of compliance and implementation.
And there's something that Olumuyiwa emphasized. About twice he has said that a lot of times the letters that are written are vague and somewhat frivolous. Mm-hmm. Is it possible? Are you advocating that there should be some kind of training in that area?
That has to be done within the civil society space.
Oh, right.
And I don't think the government you are supposed to write to will train you on how to write to them.
No.
I don't think.
No, to train individuals and train people within your space.
That is where international NGOs comes in.
Very good.
You understand? Because they are here to deepen democracy. They are here to fight corruption. They are here to entrench accountability and transparency in governance. So that I think that is one of the areas that they can come in and organize a training for civil society and media practitioners.
Right. Because I recall that even individuals are free to operate that law.
Yes,
individual group organizations.
The law even says if you use barrow and paper,
yes,
it should be honest.
Yes, it should be.
It mustn't be the media house, it mustn't be the civil society. You mustn't write on a letterhead.
Happening in your local government area, you have the right to find out this project that's going on. How much is it? How much has been released?
Yes.
What exactly is involved? What kind of materials were approved? Is that the material being used now, or has somebody changed from what was specified to something that's inferior, and all that and all that?
The local government that we talk about, that brings me to the autonomy that the federal government is trying to entrench in local government administration. Now, I can categorically tell you that 90% of local government officials, they do not know about this law. They do not know about this law, the applicability, they do not know. So I think the Attorney General should look for a way of training the 774 local governments. The 774 local governments should have a representative that we head FOI desk. I think they should be trained, they should be taught, they should be lectured on what the law really means and the applicability, what their responsibility is to the people, what their response is supposed to be to applicants, areas where they can decline, areas where they have no reason to decline. They should be taught that. And it's a whole lot of money, but when there's no amount of money that is too big for knowledge. Once you want to acquire knowledge, there's no amount of money that is too big for education. Educate them, spend the money, educate them. Once they're educated, it will turn around to save the local governments a whole lot of money, because there's going to be more transparency and accountability, because they will not believe and know that people are really watching them. But as it stands like this, there are other things that must be done apart from financial autonomy that is granted the local government. There are other things that must be done to checkmate those local governments, and you can only checkmate them through the people. And there are so many civil society organizations and NGOs operating at the level of local government, so they can make use of this law to entrench transparency and accountability in local government administration nationwide, without exception. But the local government administrators, they must know what the law is, they must know their responsibility in the law, and I think they do not know for now. So the Attorney General has a duty.
Right there.
The Attorney General has a duty, whether to cascade it through the state Attorney Generals or to cascade it through the governors. But when you are saying this local government should be autonomous, I think that kind of training should come right from up to down. Straight
to them. All right, now the phone line is open now. 08029938365 is the number. Please do call in and let's have your take. Let's hear what you've got to say about this landmark judgment and all the struggle and all the effort that's been put to it. Let me ask you now, all these 14 years,
11 years.
11 years, I'm sorry. Who bears the cost of all this?
We have a project we call the FO Advisor. You engage us on our website and say, okay, we have a request to make. Can you assist us in draft or in enforcement of your rights? We process your application, we review the exemptions clauses in the act in relation to the facts and the record you are seeking, and we'll give you feedback. I say, okay, this can fly or this cannot fly. So, but once we agree that the request you are seeking for is of public importance, we'll take it off from there. So once the agency refuses to disclose to our clients as it is, we start enforcement. We bear the cost.
You bear the cost?
Yes, we have done FI litigation over 41, and we have not gotten any money from anybody. Well, just last one we did, my lawyer in court says that they need to sort those people so that they can give the CTC on time. So as the applicant to wait, say no, you need this very urgent. It's okay, say they need to get some money to give you the CTC on time. because they have to go and type and all that. So you have to wait for your time before they can type it. We say, no, we need this urgent. I said, okay, send some money to him. To go. When they did that, they quickly typed it and brought it. So we don't collect money to enforce it. Wow. We don't.
I must attest to that from my own side as the Executive Director of Citizens Awareness Against Corruption, a registered civil society organization. I think my learned brother here has done so many cases for us pro bono.
Wow.
And he has always bear the cost, flying from Benin to Abuja here, lodging in hotels, feeding himself, just to pursue a cause for us. Not for our benefit alone, but for the benefit of the whole Nigerians. That has been done. We were in court with Back of Industry, we were in court with SCDMB, we were in court with we were in court against the Petroleum Equalization Fund, the defunct Petroleum Equalization Fund. So I think we were in court with NNPC based on the agreement that they wrote with contract agreement that they wrote with Hoando, where they took over filling stations belonging to Hoando. Nigerians want to know, and I think we are waiting for judgment right now.
Okay, they refused.
Yes.
They refused to grant any information.
Yes. So he has done all those things for us. And out of these 4 cases, we filed 3 in Abuja, 1 in Benin. So you can now check yourself what it means to fly from Benin separately to Abuja here to attend court sittings and sessions. So I can attest to that.
Wow.
And we always appreciate his effort in pushing this FOI Act. And those are the kind of things that people do behind the scene that Nigerians don't see.
Don't know, exactly.
Nigerians don't know. But they generalize, basically bear pilot talk on social media and say Nigerians are not doing anything, and say lawyers are doing this, lawyers are that. No. Whatever aspersion is being cast on the judiciary, we are not part of it. We have benefited immensely from justices of every court, both trial courts, high courts, both state and federal, and appeal court and Supreme Court, and we will continue to be grateful to them.
Now, let's go back a little bit. A while ago, you did say that after the trial court had given judgment, which was this judgment, the agency now went on appeal,
yes,
and was asking, that's when this issue of applicability came up. Okay, please, let's take this call, please. Hello? Oh, no. Okay. Please do call back. I guess the network is acting up. Now, so the matter of the applicability was now raised at the appeal court. You know, you are the learned person here. All of us, the rest of us were unlearned.
We are educated, but we are not learned.
Now, how come? I thought that it is only what was tried at the initial court that gets moved up to the appeal court.
Yes.
But this applicability thing, was it not a new issue? Please hold on. Hello? Oh no,
not okay.
There's a problem.
Not okay.
There's a problem.
Okay. All right. No, good question. Issues of constitutional importance. Issues of constitutional importance can be raised at any time.
Can be raised at any time.
Yeah, jurisdiction, juristic capacity, and don't forget. Now, the issue they raised principally at the Court of Appeal was that records and archives are within the bounds of the concurrent list. Can the federal law on that subject supersede that of the state or apply to that of the state in a vacuum? Section part 4 and 5 of the second schedule. So when they raise that issue doesn't seem to be a new issue really. Of course, is that those issues can be issues of constitutional importance. Can be raised because it's tied to say that you want to accept public record. This law that you have is legislated it on archives and public records. Can it apply to us based on the concurrent powers that the state and the national share on public records and archives? It's not on an exclusive list.
Okay.
They share it. But the Supreme Court have said that where both of them share power, a federal law have made a law on the subject, the state should use it.
Where can you say that?
Where a federal lawmaker made a law that borders on concurrent listing.
Yeah.
And those are issues on concurrent list.
Yeah.
If a federal law made any, if there's any law from federal lawmaker on it, the state must use it.
Abide by it.
By it. That the state even passing their own law is unlawful.
Okay. If they pass a law, okay, good. That's another scenario now. Imagine that on the same subject matter, the federal lawmakers pass a particular law, and a state chooses to follow a path that vitiates that.
Is to the extent of physical contest is null and void.
Really?
People want for that to even mention that where the state intentionally even pass any law that the federal has passed, they are breached their scope.
Is it not the case?
Except there's no federal law. The court went further to mention that where you pass a law, the states, and a federal law now came, the state law automatically vacates.
What about
the state law exists on vacuum of the federal lawmaker? The moment federal law is passed on that subject, the state law is
wow.
So that is the hallmark of that decision. It helps to stop all these malfeasance or states trying to doctor federal law to suit them.
Because in the process of saying they are domesticating the laws,
they try to filter it.
Exactly.
If they data say that pass the FYA law, where they said that if you are making a request, I think 52 days, and you must also write privately to the head of service, who we will give reasons or why you need the records and all that. So those are barbaric sections of law, just to whittle down the combative nature of FYA on accountability and transparency.
Wow. I think
by this judgment now,
that law is
of non-effect.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, now in the course of this trial, did you have any untoward experience? Was there any agency calling you out? Anybody trying to be physical, get physical, anything?
No, there was no threat. We enjoyed the cordiality of our comrades. We enjoyed the support of the government at some time. If you will recall, I served in the government committee and both of the NSAS committee and also of the deputy governor remover. So that's can tell you the acceptance of the government.
All right, Barrister, let's do this. Hello. You're welcome to the Polity. Thank you very much. Eso Dudu, you're welcome.
Yes, and imagine a beautiful world with KAFTAN TV.
Imagine a beautiful Nigeria, right?
Yes, and imagine
a beautiful world.
Doing with KAFTAN TV. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Dayo, our very wonderful host.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon to Comrade Olumuyiwa.
Yes, that's correct.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
Steve Viewer. Yes, the topic is Act. This Freedom of Information Act. The judgment from the Supreme Court affirming national jurisdiction over this law is timely, and I will look at it as a master stroke for the Policy Court. Because from all indication, if you look at what is happening in our state, that's why I have been against the state police, because of what our resource persons in the studio are actually saying. If you look at most of this law, like this Freedom of Information Act, the case you mentioned about the Delta State issue, it is happening in several states. You see laws that ordinarily that the national will still discover that State House of Assembly will still go and then try to doctor that law to make sure that it suits their own operation. So it's really worrisome. So looking at this judgment that the Supreme Court gave is a victory for Nigeria.
Indeed.
And the civil society organization and the media should make sure that we champion and ensure that nobody should thwart the implementation of this judgment. Look at the judgment of the July 11th local government autonomy. That even from all indication, it seems as if the president is begging them. But it's quite unfortunate. May God bless us. May God bless KAFTANTV, and may God bless you, the anchor and the resource person, for doing a very wonderful justice to this topic.
Thank you, also, Dudu. It's been quite some time. We've not heard from you for some time. Thank you for calling in again.
Yes, the network. Okay, yes. Within last week, I was actually away. I was attending to my academy.
Oh, okay. Wish you the very best.
Yes, I was away last week. So, doing some defense and some other things.
All right. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, then. Bye-bye.
So the network has been very bad. I try calling to not connect.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for your consistency. Now, so you said you enjoyed the conviviality of colleagues of government,
and they recognize that our work is not to blackmail. Our work is to deepen public participation, because we all cannot be in the State House of Assembly to look at the budget, but we all can ask on some components of the budget. So, like I mentioned to you, that I've enjoyed some privileges by reason of my work. I've been in the NSAS panel for Edo State.
Okay.
I was also in the committee that review the misconduct of the deputy governor. So those are you cannot get those leverages if you have not been working. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, also means that the government is seeing what you are doing, and they think you can make verdict on bias.
Right. Now let's take a look at this. There was something I hinted at before when I said sometimes the judgment or the victory sometimes become Pyrrhic, becomes like Korofo. Okay, empty shell. And in this extant case, it looks as though that's also the situation.
No, it's not. It's not. The law has been in use for federal agencies.
We're just turning our eyes now. In the particular
yes, we're not turning our eyes now to the states, but I can bold to say that the Edo Saka as an agency, I'm hearing has gone into extinction because it's a funded agency, like you said. So when you say stop giving them money because of poor usage of it, arising from this case, they had to fold up, no? But it's an agency order,
in which
bigger agency, which is Ministry of Health. So if enforcing a judgment against a state, it's enforced against the Attorney General of the state.
Okay, whatever judgment is being enforced against Edo Saka.
Yeah, it's enforced against the Attorney General of the state. So we will do a letter to the Attorney General on what judgment we have gotten, and we are very sure that the Attorney General will make bold moves to implement it. And ironically, Commissioner for Health is also the son under which the administration under which the record was denied at social violence. So I'm sure he will want to use the opportunity to quickly repair the wrong that must have been committed during that area. So we're optimistic that the judgment will be complied with. We're optimistic that broadly application of the law to states will be one of the biggest things that has ever happened. And most importantly, state legislators will not be wasting the resources of the people to begin to pass laws that exist.
That already exists.
So it reduces costs of legislation in Nigeria, and also bridges the gap of trying to water down already existing law just in a way to evade implementation and compliance.
How can that be utilized by the average citizen? If I notice, for example, I'm media, but if I notice, for example, that a law has been passed by the federal body, the federal lawmakers, is about being passed, can I challenge that?
Yes, if a law has been passed by the state, and that same law exists at the federal level, you can apply to set it aside. It's void, but you may have to file a process in court for the court to formally pronounce it.
It's void from the outset. Yes, ab initio.
The court will set it aside. That is the hallmark of the decision. It's a constitutional sovereignty for the National Assembly on concurrent listing.
All right, that's huge, and I hope that we can take advantage of some of these things so that we can truly have value for money even from our elected officials. I mean, what's the use of wasting energy, time, resources on a law that's already in place? So this is good, and it behoves of us to try to make it work by testing it, by being alert, by being by following what's going on around us. Because again, you can have all these laws and all these judgments, and yet it does not benefit us because we're lying there idle. Isn't that so?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so the average citizen has a responsibility to keep their eyes open, keep their minds alert, and look at what's happening, what government is doing, and be able to say, based on this and this and that, this cannot stand. Else, there will definitely still be people in government who want to, in spite of all this, continue in the path of ignominy, like they have done for aeons. So it's our responsibility to checkmate them. I hope that that goes down well. I mean, goes right down to the average citizen of this country, because it's crucial. We need to get our nation back. And then let me remind you that the phone line is still open, and the number is 00299383365, so that, who knows, you might just have the idea that will turn around the fortunes of Nigeria. After all, we're looking for the dream Nigeria, all of us, that dream Nigeria that will be the epitome of efficiency, of effectiveness, of greatness. That's what all of us are driving at.
Yes, like I mentioned earlier, sovereignty of the people has already been emphasized. We now have a state where persons who are aspiring to political offices will tell you that they want to go to public office so that they can make inputs and be able to make contribution to governance processes and all that. But I think you have a good response to them. That therefore empower citizens of Nigeria to participate in government with or without the ballot process. So if you are going to government space through the ballot just because you want to really be active citizen, it's questionable. It means that there are other ulterior motives under which you are going to such elevation. So FYA as a law has powered every citizen to be active. It has powered every citizen to be the sovereignty that has been given to them by the Constitution. It has powered every citizen to participate in their own government. I did a paper in the US in 2013 where I called it FOI sovereignty. And that's what we espoused. It was a league of professors. But by the time I submitted my own paper, I was selected, because they knew, as at that time, just the law that's coming up and all that. So we must use your power as a citizen to activate. It means that the Appropriation Act, you can actively be involved.
Exactly.
There are some personnel, we're doing a research currently, there's a personnel cost for some MDAs, like Concession Regulatory Commission, ICROC.
Yes, ICROC.
So Abishma, how many staff do they have that they're asking for a huge sum for personnel cost? If FY wasn't there, or we are not inquisitive, we will not know. So there's an agency that flipped its budget from 3 billion to 74 billion. I need to explain what capital work is going to do.
3 billion?
Yes. There's an agency,
in the previous year,
yes,
or within
2024 to 2025, 3 billion to 74 billion. There's an agency that has 512% increase. There's an agency with 2010% increase of personnel cost.
Personnel cost?
That's salary.
Not capital.
Yes, that's salary. So he now has to explain to us that whether the labor movement increase is what's accounted for that, or they have done a new recruitment. So you must be at alert. These laws are there to ensure that we as Nigerians, we are not further ridiculed. We have cried enough. We must open our eyeball, ball to ball, and confront these people who want to put this country in shame.
Wow. That's the president speaking, but he's not the president of the Federal Republic. His name is president.
Yes.
Very unique name.
Thank you.
Now, see, I'm really inspired, and I do hope that Nigerians are taking note of all this. You heard him. These laws are there, but you have a role to play to activate them, to ensure that these people or people in high office do not continue to take advantage of you and I. And I think that that's a role there, even for the media,
Yes, I've already known that every Nigerian will not go through the budget, the Appropriation Act, every year in, year out. When this budget was passed, every year when budgets are passed and signed by the president, I bring them down, the soft copy down to my laptop, and I continue and I start with my team to analyze the budget and to see loopholes. You see that in so many cases, what was done in 2024 will still come out in 2025 budget as a new project, especially office furnitures, computers, printers and scanners every year. Now, what if you are buying a printer? We have these things in our offices. We don't buy every year. Then you don't look at in 2024 you bought something for 2 million naira. In 2025 you want to buy the same thing. Number one, you want to buy the same thing. Why are you buying the same thing?
Exactly.
Number two, you want to buy it for 20 million naira. For example, I'm going to give you an analogy. You want to buy it for 20 million naira. Why?
Questions should be
Despite
asked.
the inflation, it's not supposed to be
that bad.
It's not that bad. These are things that individuals go to the market to buy. Even though you are marking it up with 30% or 50% profit for the contractor that will supply it, it's not supposed to be up to this. Those are critical questions that the media and the civil society should look at. Look at the budget. Whatever thing you have discovered there, you cascade it to the society. The civil society and the media should be the voice of the society. You understand? Everybody cannot, because the 2025 Appropriation Act is more than 2,000 pages. It's more than 2,000 pages. So it takes a lot of energy, which is not beyond what can be done by a group of civil society practitioners or media practitioners. You have a team, you work on it, so that you don't just go out and work blindly. You know, if you are challenging one agency, you know why you are challenging them, because the greatest procurement fraud starts from the budgeting process. From the budgeting process. That's where it starts from. That is where the foundation is being built. If we can get it right from the budget, and if we can monitor the budgeting process and the implementation, then we will get a lot of value for money as a people and as a nation.
All right, Barrister, let me ask you, based on this victory and a series of victories that you have had over time, don't you think that there are still some areas that need to be challenged? For example, this country says, or the law in this country says, bail is free. But you and I know that bail is not free.
Yes, I think it's not a condition for law legislation. It's a condition for attitudinal change and character.
Yeah, maybe if you put certain things in place to ensure that those who are involved are dealt with, and more frequently we have such cases.
We cannot begin to wade the force of law on individuals as punishment, as a resort for compliance. We must begin to devise a strategy that prevents inside out. Yes. What prevents it? The police budget doesn't think of the DPO that it needs stationery. The police budget doesn't think that the cell need detergent or those material that we need to clean it up.
Are you talking as a matter of fact?
Yeah, they don't have.
That is the fact.
They don't give them. So by the time a division doesn't receive those things, they not do what they call local sourcing. They not do what they call local revenue drive. I start arresting bike riders, arresting people who are even carrying their proceeds from the farm just to be able to raise money. So we must internalize solutions. We must not begin to say, oh, you punish this one, send this one to jail. Begin to put your eyes on the flow of financing from the police. Does it get to those DPOs? I'll give you an instance. We visited the Commissioner of Police of Edo State in his office last week, and somebody introduced himself as Executive Director, bail is free. And he said, wow, that's what you do. He said, yes, that's good. What's your number? Give me this number on a small sheet. I will empower you. I'll give you everything that you need to operate. Any DPO, any police station where they ask you to pay money for bail, call me. And while you are still there, just call me and I will ask you to go and give the DPO phone. Put it on loudspeaker. He said, you know? I said, no. He So the reason is because they don't give me returns. I ask them not to give me. So it is not a thing of legislation. It's character. If I'm raising money from my local government, from my division to give to the commissioner of police, where will I get it from?
Area commander to.
So if the commissioner of police on their own make public declaration, that's where the media comes in. So can you please tell the public that DPO should not give you anything? Can you please? And he makes, oh, that's true. DPO are not giving me anything. They should not give me anything. That alone will change the way they also operate at local level. Because it is, they have to remit to remain in their station. If you don't remit, that means you're a nuisance. You're not able to manage the power given to you. You have been empowered while the system is concerned.
Those we call constables.
Those
that are called constables.
Yes.
So in some cases they call them cause troubles. That one of my friends say it is when they cause trouble that the DPO will chop. Yes. And I look at it. This has to do.
These are the people who are supposed to defend the law.
Yeah. So there's even
this has nothing to do with the institution.
On bail is free. You may not.
Apart from the fact that the institution is not making adequate provision for these people. You understand? And if the institution is not making adequate provision for the people, there's another way that they can be funded through security fraud that is being taken by governors. But somebody last week, I read the report that somebody said a governor takes 500 million as security fraud and gives 20 million to commissioner of police monthly.
So take 500 million. That state is 300 million. Some states
in 1 month.
Yes, some states 700 million.
You know that convoy. No, when they move even with first aid.
Then
why do you think that somebody on the right senses will want to get, if you can do 30, they will do it? Because it's free money. You can't get such a huge profit even from business.
So
just to
it is ridiculous for a state governor that is agitating for state police not to be able to adequately fund the police formation.
Under his,
they say, well, you see, you use the federal police that is under you, your state, to test run what you are going to do if you finally get state police. Because the issue of state police, when you get state police and you give them arms and you say they should go to the street to work and you are owing them salary, so they must use that arm to get what they are going to eat when they get to the houses. They must use that arm to get money to buy bread, to go and give them. So though the policemen, individual policemen, they have their own problems. So that is the area of attitudinal change that he talks about. You understand? There are so many police officers that are very righteous. I can tell you, very righteous.
Right.
From when they were enlisted into the police till they retire, they never took bribe from anybody. I have so many of them. They never took bribe from anybody. So if you are generalizing, then you are making a mistake. But there are some that are there to perpetuate this bribery and corruption. That is the main reason why they join the police. But the system has further empowered them to do that. You understand? Like what the story you just told us now about Edo State. So what reason will somebody have to collect money for bail? Because you cannot say you want to remit to the area commander, then from the area commander to the DPO. It's not possible. Because the DPO is not interested. So the DPO, so this thing must start from the top and then to the bottom. They are being published every day, especially during IG Baba. If you have video evidence of any policeman collecting bribe, the policeman is gone. The policeman is gone. Why?
Because
what will he do?
It's on an errand.
What will he do?
And it's not supported for the errand.
Yes.
It's not
what will he do? That is why in some cases
he fought, they were exposing.
That is different to the police and the military. In some cases, the military may, once they dismiss you and send you to the society, you become a big threat to the society. So they look for a way to rehabilitate you within there. Not that they are condoning your irregularities, but they know that the society you are going to will face a lot of consequences. So essentially the Air Force, they rehabilitate you from doing those things. So let us look at the budget of the police. Let people, civil society and the media agitate for adequate budget. If it's not enough, let there be adequate budget, adequate fund,
tracking of the existing money they have.
Then when they have adequate fund, how they are being disbursed now, then the governors should do a lot to help to augment the fund. You can't take 500 million and give 20 million to Commissioner of Police for all the police formation within the state. It's not tenable. Nothing will be done. And we are complaining about insecurity. So what we are supposed to do now is to look at the budget of the police, agitate on their behalf for increment. Because that is the most important institution as far as Nigeria is concerned. That is the most important institution. There is no state. There are countries without military. There are countries without military, but there is no country without police. So it's not possible for any country not to have a police force. But you can. There are countries, maybe Iceland also. They don't have a military. They use military of whether they are neighboring countries. There are like 6 countries in the world without a military. But there is no country without a police. So the police as an institution is very, very important. Very, very important. So it must be taken seriously.
Well, we're on the home drive. In a few minutes, all this for this edition will be over. And you still have a chance to call in on 080-299-38365. And I'm going to come back to you, Barrister. From some of the analysis you have made, don't you think that the problem really is with the poor oversight? For example, when we're talking about the budget, yes, you talked about the budget. Somebody buys a pen this year and puts a pen there again, and puts a typewriter there again, the same model, or sometimes a higher model, and with much higher cost. And then this goes through the House of Assembly, and it's not checkmated. Is it a case of inability to spot, or is it complicity? What do you think?
On the side of the House of Assembly?
Yes.
Well, before the budget gets to those that will scrutinize it,
yes,
the people that will set the budget, they were there first. They were there first to water the ground for the budgets to be able to pass through. So that is very, our attitude must change towards governors as a people. Our attitude must change towards governors.
We must ask questions.
That is why so many agencies that we have, we are not even supposed to have them in the first place. So many things that we are doing, we are not supposed to be doing them in the first place. So many laws that we have, we are not supposed to have them in the first place. But because as a people, we have refused to do the right thing, we must be forced to do the right thing. And when we are forced to do the right thing through this law or through this institution, we devise another means of sabotaging that effort. That's why we have so many laws, so many agencies, but our problem continues to remain the same since the time of independence.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. So the problem is complicity. Everybody is being carried along in the issue. So that's why we are not having. And the little dissenting voices, they are too minute
to make
that they cannot make a difference.
Yes,
cannot be heard.
They cannot be heard.
And if you get too strident in that dissenting voice, you could even get.
But I must say that the voices, no matter how low they are, they must continue to speak up. One day, they will make a difference.
After all, this is some huge difference that
people
make
a difference.
Huge difference. If you had also just sunk into self-defeatism and say, after all, this thing, it won't work, we wouldn't have gotten here.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a big one. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
And maybe at this point, you want to give your parting shots, 1 minute.
Okay. The citizens of the country should be awoken to their responsibility. It's huge. It's constitutionally protected. The office of the citizen is bigger than the office of the Senate President of Nigeria. So you must know what your role is. But in all of this, you must first and foremost equip yourself with knowledge. The time is gone where you, as a graduate a graduate from university, you spend 5 hours in TikTok without even checking on KAFTANTV, checking on the newspaper tablet to know what's on and what contribution can be to national development. We must stop this unnecessary criticism. For those who are criticizing may be short of ideas. You need to come up with an alternative. You need to come up with a platform where they can also get some fact from you and progress with it for national development. So the office of the citizen is a role that doesn't require ballot box, but knowledge and courage is indispensable.
Thank you.
Yes, I want to particularly commend this judgment, and I want to thank the justices that did justice to this judgment. And I want to use this opportunity to tell Nigerians that this judgment is timely, being for the fact that we are agitating for local government autonomy. This should be used to check the local government administration, so that what we are experiencing in states and at federal level will not be at the local government level. We must agitate for transparency and accountability in governance at local government level, because when local government is dead, then small scale businesses and will be dead. And we are having rural urban migration more than we are having urban rural migration, which was not so in the olden days. So now we can use this law to check these local governments and their officials and make sure that dividend of democracy is being delivered to the people at the local level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that's going to be about the size of this program. You have heard so much from these two resource persons, and they've come a long, long way. I mean, achieving what many people probably would have felt was impossible. Today, you can say it loud and clear that the jurisdiction of the FOI Act is nationwide, is the entire space. No state can begin to hide behind a finger and say, no, it's a federal government thing. No, it covers every state, and that knowledge should propel you to take advantage of what's in store, so that when you see a project, you can ask questions. The EFCC would say, if you see something, say something. So we all need to say something, because we are seeing a whole lot of things, but we've been keeping quiet for too long. And now with the empowerment of this kind of judgment, you should be out there watching what's going on, rather than complain, rather than lament. That's more positive. That's more constructive. Sir, we have seen that this road is being done, and we see that you're still using narrow gauge bridges. Is this what was provided for? Or please, can we see the budget? Can we see exactly? So the bill of quantities and all that. So this is huge. Let's take advantage of it. And as we leave now, I must say a very big thank you to you, Barrister President Aigbokhan.
Thank you for.
I believe I am pronouncing your
very
name
well.
correctly.
Very well. Yes.
These are either Owedo or this Bojaya people.
Yes, just the office that is not there yet.
The president.
The name is there already.
The name is there already.
President. I hope it doesn't get you into trouble with the president of the federal.
No, we're ensuring that he leaves the office better than he met it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, I also want to say thank you to you, Olumuyiwa.
Thank you for having me.
Onlede. Yes, I got it.
It's a pleasure.
And I must say thank you to the production team and everyone who has been a part of making this happen. And thank you, wonderful viewers. Thank you, everyone who called SODudu, and every one of you. Thank you so very much. You make it happen. And so at this point, it's